Welcome back. You're listening to This Week in America. Good segment coming up, scambusters.org. That's what we'll be talking about. Audrey Lanford is our guest on the program. She's the creator and co-director. Back with us on This Week in America. We have so many scams. We could do this like once a week for the next 12 years and still not probably accomplish everything in denting some of the scams out there. Scambusters.org has been around since 1994. Audrey, as I mentioned, is the creator and co-director. Audrey, welcome back to This Week in America.
Totally my pleasure.
1994, and I know one of the things you still talk about, and it's amazing that anybody falls for this, is the Nigerian scam. Is this one of these that goes back to 1994 when you actually started Scambusters?
Oh, actually, it goes way back before that. Yeah, we've been reporting on that every year since.
That's 13 years, and people still fall for this.
That scam actually started offline, then it went online. Now it's both. So, yeah, the Nigerian scam is one that you would think people wouldn't fall for anymore, but they do to the tune of $200 million a year.
That is absolutely me. I'd heard somebody say that every day $1 million left the United States on this, and the numbers you're throwing out there, that would be realistic and probably even more than that, despite everybody, Scambusters and everybody else saying, don't fall for this.
Yeah, it's really true. I mean, the thing is, by now, there are literally thousands of variants of the Nigerian scam. It's not just Nigeria anymore. It's pretty much any country. And mainly, what we call the Nigerian scam, because it did start in Nigeria, is a scam in which you're promised an absurd amount of money, millions of dollars, to help somebody in some way do something. And there are, again, hundreds of different things you could do to help them. And you'll get a percentage of the money. And so you'll get millions of dollars to help them do something. And some of them are, where it's just plain simple greed, and that's what actually most of them were, and that's the original. However, more recently, the Nigerian scammers are actually targeting people who are very religious and even religious leaders by promising money for their church. So it can be anything. And we've got a lot of dead relatives. I'm sure pretty much all of our listeners here have seen these emails that say, my late husband died of cancer, and I'm dying, and I really want to give you this money. But it's unbelievably effective, unfortunately.
Audrey Lanford, our guest on This Week in America. She's the creator, co-director of Scambusters.org. I encourage you to go to the website. It's excellent. It's been around since 1994. While there, you can subscribe free, no strings attached, to Internet Scambusters. That's the #1 publication for Internet fraud. One of the things you talk about on there is the ad check scam, and this is where people that are buying, selling on eBay, other legitimate auction sites, are selling something. Somebody is contacting them. They're overpaying. Explain how this works and what people should watch for.
Yeah. We call this we usually call this the overpayment scam. And what will happen is that, let's say you have a car on eBay or wherever, and somebody will call and say they want to buy the car, and you make the deal. And then they tell you that actually they're going to pay you with a cashier's check, Western Union, whatever, usually cashier's check, for more money than you asked. And what they want you to do is send back the difference. It can be for shipping, it can be for whatever, but they want you to send back some money. And of course, the check that they actually send you to pay for the item is bogus. The problem is that your bank is not necessarily going to be able to identify that the check is actually bogus. And they're going to very often accept the check and tell you it's just fine. It'll be many weeks later, after you've sent them the car and the overpayment, that you will realize that that check was fraudulent. And so you're out the money and very often the car or whatever it is you were selling.
Right. And they prey on people, like I said, that do commerce all the time on eBay, some of the other auction sites. And it makes some sense, but people really need to be aware, and I would say in most cases that's probably fraudulent and have no part of it.
That's exactly right. It's so important. If you ever hear of anybody wanting to send you a check for more than the amount, don't do it.
Audrey Lanford, our guest on This Week in America. She is with scambusters.org, an excellent website. I know something that you talk about, and we've got about a minute left in the program, on the website. What's interesting with the website is it tells you about the scams. A lot of them, yes, you've heard of. A lot of them are like new that we've talked about on This Week in America before. But you also point to some of the emails that we get, some of the projects that are going out there, some of the programs that actually are legitimate. So some emails that you get actually are legitimate.
Yeah, we do. Every so often we'll do an issue on urban legends that you've been seeing.
Yeah, I love those.
We'll try to have people guess which one is actually true. So, because you can't always guess. Some of them really are okay. But we definitely recommend that people don't go spreading emails that they get, especially any email that says, please forward this to all your friends. There are almost no exceptions that those are really bogus.
And I would assume whenever you're dealing with an email that asks for some money up front, be aware, be very aware.
Exactly. And anything, the biggest rule, the number one way to avoid getting scammed is to never, ever, under any circumstances, respond to spam. Our saying is, if it's spam, it's a scam.
It's easy to remember. Audrey Lanford, our guest on This Week in America, creator, co-director of scambusters.org. The website is there for you. You can sign up at the website for Internet Scam Busters, the #1 publication for Internet fraud. Audrey, thank you for joining us, and thank you for listening, everybody, to This Week in America. Audrey, thank you so much.
That was fun.
That was very fun, and I tell you, I've got 12 more pages of questions. I will let you know when these are going to air, and then we certainly will do this on an ongoing basis, if you will, because it's fascinating.
I'd be happy.